that, but I know that this man, your father, was on the inside of the inner circle of the people who were developing the state-of-the-art of the technology of the world. And I think if he made that statement, he was talking about something that was either in the state of preliminary development or may have already been a reality. But, of course, those of us who served in the intelligence community, I was in the Office of Naval Intelligence, and you've been connected with the Central Intelligence Agency and the Joint Chiefs, we know that in secret they're at least 50 to 100 years ahead of anything that the public sees as the state-of-the-art of any technology.
No question about it. No question about it.
And that's why when people tell me that we don't have a laser scalpel that could make surgical cuts like they find on these mutilated animals that's portable, I just laugh at them. I don't let them know that I'm laughing at them. They think I'm just laughing because it's funny. But I'm laughing because they really tend to believe that what they see as the state-of-the-art in the public sector is really the state-of-the-art of technology. And it's not at all. It's way behind.
Well, certainly if my dad wasn't, and of course neither one of us will probably ever know whether he was directly involved with that state of technology, he certainly had friends that were, specifically Hoyt Vandenberg, who was original director of the CIA, used to be around the house all the time, Jimmy Doolittle, who was definitely connected with the SASA program. He was sent over to Sweden to investigate the ghost rockets, and he had a very heavy involvement in the later years with the SASA program. People have asked me if my dad was involved in anti-gravity research. Of course, I was born in 1942, and we're talking about like 55, which would make me 13 or 14 years old. He certainly wouldn't have told me anything, so I wouldn't have no knowledge of that. Talking with my mother, he used to make trips to Fort Huachuca, and it seems that Fort Huachuca was the central area for some very classified technology research, possibly having to do with anti-gravity, but that's as far as I can trace it now. If I had become interested in this subject just a few years earlier, I would have been able to talk with the chief physicist at LEAR Incorporated, who was a guy named Niels Eklund, Scandinavian, and a very competent guy.
Is he still alive, John?
No, unfortunately, like I say, he died just before I got into this research, or I would have been able to find out from him some
I see.
really good information. But he passed away, I believe, in 1982 or 83.
Well, I know that you've had some contact with some of the more famous or infamous, depends upon which way you look at it, people in the so-called UFO community, which I think is a misnomer. And a lot of these people who call themselves ufologists, which in every case is self-appointed and requires no requirements, no education. That's right. Right. What can you tell me about some of these people? What can you tell our listeners?
Well, it just seems that there's so many self-appointed researchers who spew forth so much BS about so much stuff that, I've kind of gotten out of the field myself to the extent that I may give 1 or 2 lectures a year, that I no longer, as I did at one time, believe the public should be told, because I don't think they would understand the religious ramifications of what's going on. Might confuse them as to what is really going on, and I don't think they can sort this out or need to sort it out on a daily basis.
Well, that's assuming that extraterrestrials are a reality, which they may not be.
They definitely may not be.
Yeah.
Who knows for real who these are? I've heard many stories.
Well, I used to think that they were real. As you well know, I saw documents when I was in the Office of Naval Intelligence that said they were real.
And it's possible that they are, but there's also stories of people who have been abducted, who have caught their supposed aliens taking off masks or helmets and turning
into military personnel. Yes, I've also run into those people also. And I've looked into the possibility that this whole thing is a tremendous mind control operation in order to convince the public of the world, the mass consciousness of humanity, that the Earth is being threatened by some other species from some other planet, which Ronald Reagan stated in 6 of his speeches during his administration, which is way too many times for me to believe that it was real. It's more like just putting it into people's minds. I've looked into the development of mind control techniques, and they are so far advanced that mind control is no longer experimental. It's fully operational. And from what I understand, from my contacts and from what I've been able to read in the leaks and the documents released under the Freedom of Information Act, that no part of mind control remains experimental anymore, and that they can literally remove sections of memory as if it never occurred and put in its place a different memory, as if they're running a movie in your head. And they can actually put in suggestions or orders that this will not come up, you will not remember this until some outside stimulus is encountered, and then the mind is overwhelmed by these incredible memories that in actual fact never happened. In particular, I remember reading and studying mind control projects by the Office of Naval Intelligence, where they were actually putting together and ran an assassination bureau for many years. And these people who were actually the assassins were ordinary people that they would pick according to some standard formula, put them through the brainwashing experience, where they would implant in their mind the ability and the desire to kill upon order. And they would go about their normal everyday business not even knowing that they were part of this until the stimulus was given to them and they were given an order to carry out an assassination, and they would go and do this. What do you know about all this, John? Are you there?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about these mind control programs?
Well, you're 100% correct. It works just like that. I was reading a book called Operation Mind Control just the other day, in which a guy asked for people, military people, who felt that they had been subject to mind control experiments. And there was a Air Force officer who felt that he was having some problems in later life after he retired, and it evolved from the fact that his whole career, or at least the 5 years that he thought he was stationed in Guam running a weather station, when he retired he was honorably discharged, and he was shown a whole raft of commendations and medals that he had earned. And there was no explanation for that, and he said, can I have those? And they said, no, these will be withheld until you need them, and at that time, it will be explained to whoever needs to see these what exactly happened. So this guy obviously did a lot more than he was aware of. Up at the Nevada test site, certainly this mind control works to a great degree, whereas people can remember flying up and flying back, but they can't remember what they did. The mind control is so advanced that it doesn't, they have it to the point where it doesn't bother people when they come back, say, to Las Vegas, and they interact with their children and their wives and lead a normal daily life. They don't question that they can't remember what they did. It's highly, highly advanced. We were working with an engineer, a female engineer who worked with Lockheed, who was having just a little bit of problem because she couldn't remember a lot of what she did during the day. And I think that they were not too successful in the mind control program there, because she did realize that there were same things going on. But it is highly, highly evolved. People would be just shocked to know how far advanced it has become.
Well, it's time for a break, folks. Don't go away. We'll be right back, right after this very short pause. When I first started my crusade, I guess that's what you can call it, to try to wake people up, I had a tremendous